As an intellectual nomad, I've lived and worked in about 5 of the 7 continents that we have. I am therefore a walking, talking museum of encounters curated from my globe-trotting exploits. In the fall of 2022, I migrated to the United States from Papua New Guinea in the South Pacific. Now, the world is stunningly uninformed about Papua New Guinea. Geographically nestled on the crown of Australia, this jewel of the Pacific is possibly the last frontier on planet Earth. It is found up there, up north. If ever you seek an impeccable holiday experience, PNG will never disappoint. Down there is an Instagram moment waiting to happen. Your wildest imagination is no match for its authentic beauty and intriguing history. As an island, Papua New Guinea is the size of California, with about 10 million fine souls speaking approximately 900 languages. As expected, its cultural riches and extraordinary wilderness will be a traveler's delight. The soils are incredibly fertile, their men are authentic, and their women organic. Depending on which province you visit, you will find stunning blondes, women with kinky African hair, Micronesian queens, Polynesian princesses, as well as tender Negress beauties. The famous Queen of Sheba was born down there at a place called Rabaul. I sure met her twin sister. Now, Carl Hoffman, a reputable American scholar, social anthropologist, and researcher, in his book, The Savage Harvest, persists that in 1961, Michael Rockefeller was killed and eaten by the Asmat people of Papua New Guinea. This was done, he claims, in a ritualistic cannibalism. Unfortunately, he isn't alone in this madness. The internet is littered with all sorts of phantasmagorical innuendos about the quantum of calamities that could kill a foreigner in Papua New Guinea. This notion that PNG is a dismal place is as imaginary as a unicorn. I have been privileged to do elegant laps around highly relevant places in that not so tiny landmass. So I am legitimately eligible to give an insider's perspective on life in that perfect corner of the planet. Like many people out here, I was initially nervous about what life in PNG will be like, given its digital footprints. But I quickly dismissed my intuition when I touched down at Jackson's International Airport. And after a few months' stay, there occurred a complete revival in the ecosystem of my thinking. And thus, I brought my family along, and we then called it home for about half a decade. Like author and philosopher Bertolt Brecht remarks in his book Caucasian Chalk Circle, home to a goat is where grass tastes like grass. But to a Luo man like me, home is where morning smells like morning. So trust me when I authoritatively hail PNG particularly, as the next big thing in the Southern Hemisphere. Of course, like any other growing economy, it has its stories of hopes and holes. But I can vouch that claiming that its people are not hospitable will be to tell a bright, shining lie. As a nature corridor, PNG is undeniably breathtaking. The lush contours of slumbering volcanoes, the untouched virgin jungles, not to mention the spectacular roaring cascades of its giant rivers. I so often sat by the shallow seafloor of the popular pristine waters, watching the sun glide west in full splendor. PNG also has substantive endowment of biodiversity. Its preserving advantages are not limited to the rich fertile soils or the glorious minerals and gas deposits. History's most significant ruins are also housed here. The World War II relics, the dugout mountain ribs, The unmarked graves of fallen foreign soldiers provide a sober disclaimer that this is no ordinary place. I have been to most of its hard to reach mountaintops, and I can for sure say that it's hard to beat a scenic viewpoint that comes complete with the remarkable ancient ruins. It is a dizzying spectacle. You stand atop a hill and behold what was once a bloody battleground for the Japanese soldiers against the Allied forces, both sides nursing a consuming desire to win. Actually, the accurate scale of World War II crisis can best be understood while standing there. Again, PNG is the most linguistically diverse nation on planet Earth. There are about 10 million file souls, like I did mention, speaking over 900 dialects. Now, this in itself highlights a remarkable social discipline that abounds there. Reinforcing its authentic appeal is that you get into new tribe with their unique ageless cultural dispositions for every few meters that you may walk. These beautiful people avidly honor their traditional cultural heritage and customs, even as they remain primarily Christians. But even when tempers flare and a tribal fight erupts, there is minimal cause for concern, especially for people who aren't party to the feud. The cost of these isolated incidents of fierce altercations is not insignificant, though. As a people, they seem to have a golden past and a historical connection to many a continent. Though if you were to meet a Papua New Guinean in the streets of New York, you'd pass them for any other African American until you meet their blue-eyed blondes. Then your jaw drops. So it's criminal to spread disinformation on vital matters of public interest. Sometimes I think, though, that online vandalism against Papua New Guinea emanates from a dual strategy of self-centered people who have found honeypot down there and would want others to join the adventure, or of half-bright adults who suffer acute integrity outage and know very little about the dangers of a single story. So when you gather in front of your computer screens, secreting contaminated views of Papua New Guinea, I want to caution you against being an absolutist. The internet has news ecosystem that offers too much oxygen to misinformation. And as someone who, before living in Papua New Guinea, had only a single story about Papua New Guinea, I fully agree with Chimamanda Adichie Ngozi in asserting that single stories are not only untrue, but they also rob people of their dignity. Believing all the negative stories online about Papua New Guinea is like promoting tobacco to children. If you are into globe-trotting, Papua New Guinea should be in your next bucket list. Until the American dream came calling, I had long hoped to remain in the South Pacific till kingdom come. I was truly enjoying a stellar career as a servant of the state in that little known tropical paradise. But as fate will have it, after about 5 glorious years, I painstakingly sent one of the most difficult resignation letters ever written in the history of corporate resignations. In part, it had these honest truths. Vice Chancellor, sir, speaking from my heart and mind, permit me to confess that as the teens, the best days of our lives have been lived in Papua New Guinea. Now, those were bare bones of truth. Sometimes in the years to come, when we have become empty nesters, I want to go back to Papua New Guinea and complete my unfinished assignments. Contribute to building human capital, drink fresh coconut juice, go to church, eat the local dishes, dance to the rhythm of the indigenous drums, walk their snow-white sand beaches, visit the marketplace and mingle with authentic folks who are eternally giggling, laughing, smoking, chewing betel nuts, and living their best lives. I want to follow the rugby craze again between the Maroons and the Blues. I want to hear Those familiar hushed voices whispering, Mangi Africa, in the supermarkets. On 8th of August 2022, Air New Guinea took off from Port Moresby, allowing me to see the land I loved below. The faucets of my eyes opened, allowing its colorless liquid content to freely flow. Mortified like a carved stone, I endured the 22 hours flight to Los Angeles. Perhaps one day my spirit will eventually leave Papua New Guinea and join my body here in the United States. Thank you.